So I've been getting a lot of requests as far as, that people want me to break down the numbers as far as what they could expect pulling loads off of the relay load board with Amazon. I'm going to do it in two parts. One, I'm going to go over kind of like the good, the bad, the average, as far as, what somebody could expect if they started hauling loads for Amazon. And then the second part, it's going to be a separate video I'm going to do as far as I'm going to let you in on every secret, every little thing that I think I've found out thus far. So going to be kind of a two-part one. If you like the first one, be sure and stick around for the second one. So as far as the Amazon relay load board is concerned, I have like one goal when I pull loads off of there. I'm looking to kind of like outperform other offers that I see other brokers offering. I'm also looking to kind of outperform the Amazon load, the block rate that they offer. They typically say anywhere between like $650, $750 a day. They'll give you a block. Let's say the average is about $700. Plus they say they'll cover accessorials. That's difficult for me to say. Basically what that means is that every mile they ask you to drive, I think the current rate right now is 65 cents a mile. So, you figure you do like a $700 day plus 500 miles, they could probably expect you to run during that time 65 cents a mile. I mean, that's going to basically turn your day into $1,025. Divide that out by 500 miles, you're basically making about $2.05 a mile. I'm not saying that's bad. I haven't opted to do that yet. So again, that whole idea of like trying to outperform that number as well as what I see other brokers doing. So I'm just gonna kind of break down the good, the bad, the average. Fortunately for you, I've experienced all three of these types of days here within like the last week or so. So, to begin with the good, good happened on Halloween, October 31st. It consisted of a total of 6 loads. And I'll get more into this in the second part of the video, but it started out with originally I had scheduled a National City to Otay. That load ended up getting canceled. Now when Amazon cancels a load for you, they pay you a $175 TONU, or truck order not used. Fortunately, I was getting ready to leave for that one. I didn't go, didn't start my clock. And as you'll see why on this good day, it was kind of worked out for the best. So started out with that one getting canceled. So my day officially started at 3 in the morning on 10/31. Getting a notification from another app. Anyway, 3 in the morning, I did a Otay to Vista, back to Otay. It was a round trip. Paid $293. It was $277 a mile. Again, not great money, but kind of kept me active, kind of put me back in Otay where I wanted to be. Right after that one ended, they needed a trailer moved across the street. Now, usually for this, and it's one of those things, it's kind of like right place, right time. Moving that trailer across the street, they typically pay $200 for. I've seen it go as high as like $400, but as right place, right time, got to move a trailer from one location in Otay to another one right across the street for $200. Came back from that, did a Otay to Poway back to Otay. Now this one paid a little bit more. This one was $436. It ended up being $531 a mile. Came back from that, did an Otay to Paris. It was a one-way. That was $599 a mile. And then fortunately when that one ended, I was done with that one at $145. They had a Riverside coming back to Otay, which is where I started from in the first place. That one started at $215. Back in Otay at $515, that one paid $595 or $562 a mile. So basically for that first day, I mean, the truck order not used, the moving the trailer across the street, the Vista, the Poway, the Paris, and then the Riverside back, ended up being $2,249 for 1 day's work. Got it done in 15 hours. Now I know you're thinking, hey, you went over your hours of service. One thing California has, and I don't know if other states have this, I don't want to claim to be an authority on this, but I'm positive California has it. California has a 16-hour short haul exemption. So basically, you can't drive more than 11 hours in a day. You're limited to 100 air miles from where you start. And as long as you do all that stuff, as long as you meet that criteria, you can get it done. And you have 16 hours to do it in. So I was able to do it in 15, didn't drive more than 11. And yeah, $2,249, that's a good day. Now, let's compare that to a bad day. That was a day before on October 30th. This consisted of 3 loads. Started my clock that night, started driving at midnight. Had a Otay to, a Chula Vista to Otay. It was a trailer required, so I had to take my trailer down there. Usually they fill it up with carts. I was kind of optimistic because usually when I see this load on there, usually there's good things to follow. It didn't end up happening that way though. But anyway, that one was $229. It ended up being like $25 a mile to take my trailer down, get it live loaded, get it live unloaded. That's how I started my day. did a little OTI to Vista back to Poway. That night they paid $382 for that. It ended up being $361 a mile. And then last but not least, day was done. They had a little one-way from National City back to Otay. Paid $14.02 a mile, $210. Basically just those 3 loads, $821. Now my goal in this is I try to shoot for doing about $1,000 a day. Now everybody, you know, that number kind of got put into my head from people I was watching as far as like, you know, you want to do $1,000 a day, you want to do $1,000 a day. Well, I kind of expect a little bit more out of myself, and I try to shoot for netting $1,000 a day. And you know, you can see in this example on October 30th, I just didn't do it. So that was kind of a bad day. Average day, that came on October 27th. This just consisted of 2 shifts. It started out with this spot capacity email. Now, remember, if you've been following me for a little bit, you know I lost early access. Started paying more attention to these these spot capacity emails. There's a kind of a little gold mine in these things. You know, they sent out an email saying, you know, they were willing to offer $550. What had happened is about 60 miles east of where I live, there's a town called Ocotillo. It's out in the desert. And there was a driver there who was out of hours of service. And they were asking if could anybody go out, pick up the trailer, and return it to Otay. Now they were offering $550. The thing I like about these spot capacity emails is it's your one and only chance with Amazon to kind of negotiate a rate. So I countered with $800. They came back and said, we'll do it for $750, and I said, done. So I started my clock that night at 11:30, drove out to Ocotillo, brought the trailer back to Otay. That was $750. It ended up being $773 for the loaded miles portion of that. And then got back down into Otay around 2:15, and they had another load leaving Otay going up to Santa Fe Springs. It was $585 total, $4.76 a mile going from Otay up to Santa Fe Springs. I waited in Santa Fe Springs for about an hour to see if another load would drop. I mean, ideally, you know, get one coming back, but it didn't go my way that time. And ended up coming back. I was home by 9 a.m., 9.5 hours total on my clock that day. Definitely got it all done, but total for that day, $1,335. So, you know, you take these 3 days, it ends up being $4,408, 738 total miles driven. That ends up being $597 a mile, so not bad. Now, I know you're probably thinking, yeah, but what about, you know, deadheading out to Ocotillo and you came back from Santa Fe Springs empty? And you know, you have to have deadhead miles going from your house to Otay each one of these days, and you're 100% right. So, you know, if we add in total miles, you know, that adds about 200 more. So now we're talking about 938 miles, and that brings it down to $469 a mile. So I stand by that. I mean, there's people who make a lot more money than this on here. I'm just giving you my numbers as I get them, and, you know, just letting you know what's possible. But, you know, hope this video serves you well. If you're interested in knowing about all the little tips and tricks and things that I do to try to outperform these numbers, be sure and stick around for part 2.